Hey, what's up guys? Kyle with Draft Beer Dispense. Today we are talking about the Fob Foam on Beer. This is a very cool tool that we use a lot in a lot of our commercial installations across the country for large casinos and maybe large breweries or not. But what's really cool about this, just kind of the simple way, is it stops the beer flow from a keg once it caches or once the keg empties, and then shuts basically the line or passageway from the beer keg to the trunk line. It's going out to your beer tower or where you're dispensing beer. And it does that through this little float here. But what's beneficial about that is by doing that, all you're going to be wasting when you change kegs is your jumper line inside the walk-in cooler, which typically can be anywhere from 5 to 6 feet. Might be a little bit longer depending on how your setup is. But why that helps is it keeps your main trunk line packed full of beer. So once you change a new keg, you set this guy up and you change it over, that basically it's ready to go, and all that beer that's in your main trunk line stays packed. You're not sending a bunch of foam hundreds of feet down the trunk line to where it's dispensed. You don't have to refill your entire beer system, and get it all dialed in before you dispense it. It's just really a really efficient way to change kegs on remote systems. So how it works is this is basically the fob right here. This is the chamber. This little floaty thing, right, white thing here is the float. And how it works is when beer is flowing through it, so it's coming up through it and then going out through this, is that float raises up, which opens the passageway. Now when there's no beer or liquid inside of this, that float falls down in basically the position it's in now, closing everything off so nothing can basically get from your keg up to the trunk line. Now how this works, it's pretty simple, is when you set this up in your beer walk-in or cooler, basically how we set it up was we turn everything counterclockwise. We raise the knob on the top, open this up, hit this button. This purges it, and basically we'll get all the foam out of here and then fill this chamber full of beer. So once this is full of beer, the float should rise, and once it rises, basically then you want to do is you turn this clockwise and it'll stay in the floating or basically up raised position, and you're ready to rock and roll. You don't have to do anything to it. Basically the flow of beer running through it keeps it running automatically. But then when you cache a keg, it'll fill up with foam, and this float will actually fall down like it is like this. And then what you want to do to change a keg is change your keg to a new keg from the old one, retap it, and then once you do that, raise this, purge the foam out of there until it's full of beer, and then once it's full of beer, release it and turn this bad boy down, and that float should be in the raised position. If you have some trouble and it's not working or it keeps falling while it's full, one thing you can bypass this system is to keep the knob all the way raised up, and therefore it's going to pass through like there's really nothing there. But if that's the case, I'd reach out to your draft tech and have them come take a look at it. But that is the beer fob. Now we have it set up with a line going into a beer pump, because we run basically our systems from a beer pump to fob. But you can run these without that. They come with wall mounting brackets, kind of like so, here. And these basically slide onto the back of your fob, just like this. 1/4-inch screws up on the back, and then you can mount it. We like to run them off pumps just because that's how we operate longer remote systems. But basically this fitting right here is nothing more than a beer nut, a washer, and then a 90-degree 3/8 hose fitting on that. And then this is just basically a beer nut to a 3/8 hose fitting with a washer inside to a high pressure braided tube, because we will pump pressure sometimes pretty heavy. That's why we use this braided tubing for the beer. But that's how our setup is. But you can run these, without the beer pump, like I said. You can just come off a coupler, the product line, to this, and then have the exiting or supplying side head out to your trunk line or connect to your trunk line somewhere inside your walk-in cooler. But I use these personally. These specific beer equipment ones, they are tried and true. Used them on hundreds of jobs that we've done. I know there are other ones like Micromatic, Perlick, but these guys are pretty good. I mean, they do fall apart over some time. These knobs, the tops will pop off from time to time. They need to be replaced, but overall, I'm happy with it. They're very reliable. And like I said, if they do fail, which is rarely, just make sure you contact your draft tech, have them come take a look at it. To swap these out is very simple. Just pinch off some lines with some pinch offs, change the fob, and you're ready to rock and roll. But anyways, that's the beer fob, foam on beer, piece of draft equipment, and hopefully you enjoyed it. We'll talk soon. Cheers.